Imagine a quiet suburban home, the kind you see in any Indian city. Now picture it as the scene of a crime so baffling, so heart-wrenching, that it would tear a nation apart. This is the story of the 2008 Noida double murder case. On the morning of May 16, 2008, 14-year-old Aarushi Talwar was found murdered in her bedroom. The initial suspect was the family's live-in domestic worker, Hemraj. But the very next day, a shocking discovery was made. Hemraj's body was found on the terrace of the same building. The prime suspect had become the second victim. With no signs of forced entry, the police immediately focused their investigation on the only other people in the house that night: Aarushi's parents, Dr. Rajesh and Dr. Nupur Talwar. What followed was a media circus of epic proportions. Every day, new theories, salacious rumors, and character assassinations were broadcast across the country, turning a personal tragedy into a national spectacle. The investigation was chaotic from the start. Critical evidence was contaminated, the crime scene was not properly secured, and the initial police narrative seemed to shift with the wind. One moment, they pointed to the parents, suggesting a so-called honor killing. The next, they considered other domestic helpers, only to revert their focus back to the Talwars. This created a whirlwind of confusion and public debate. Who was telling the truth? The case was eventually handed over to India's premier investigative agency, the CBI, but even they struggled. The first CBI team concluded that the Talwars were innocent, pointing fingers at other individuals. But then, in a dramatic turn, a second CBI team took over and filed a closure report, stating they had no solid evidence, but still held strong suspicion against the parents. Based on this report, the court ordered the trial of Rajesh and Nupur Talwar for the murders. The trial itself was a labyrinth of conflicting evidence and questionable forensics. The prosecution built a circumstantial case, relying on a last-seen theory, and arguing that only the parents could have committed the crime without anyone hearing a thing. The defense, however, highlighted major lapses in the investigation and pointed to evidence that suggested outsiders were involved. They argued that the entire case against them was built on assumptions, not facts. In 2013, the trial court found the Talwars guilty and sentenced them to life in prison. The verdict was met with a mix of satisfaction and outrage. Many believed justice had been served, while others saw it as a catastrophic failure of the system. A case where the parents were convicted by public opinion long before the court's decision. But the story doesn't end there. 4 years later, in 2017, the Allahabad High Court acquitted the Talwars, citing a lack of irrefutable evidence. The judges famously stated that they could not convict on the basis of suspicion, however strong. The parents walked free, but the questions remained. If not them, then who? The Aarushi Hemraj case is more than just an unsolved mystery. It's a mirror reflecting the flaws in our justice system, the sensationalism of media, and the power of public perception. It forces us to ask uncomfortable questions. How do we separate fact from fiction when a story is sensationalized? And what happens when the search for truth gets lost in the noise? To this day, the case remains officially unsolved. 2 lives were lost, a family was shattered, and a nation is still left wondering what really happened that fateful night in Noida. This case serves as a haunting reminder of the fragility of justice. What are your thoughts on this incredibly complex case? Let us know in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and if you found this story compelling, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into cases that shaped history.